Did you record?
No, not yet. Next section, right? I just said lessons learned. So either of you guys can go ahead and actually Nicholas, why don't you go ahead and kick this off? So we'll do is 2 points each, right?
Yep.
And anything from 2020 for you?
Well, I think for one, having to be home so much, just really appreciating what I have, right? I mean, I think a lot of times, in the daily grind of life, you go through it, you get stuck in the same routine, and maybe you get so stuck and lost in that routine that you think about wanting to do something else, but you feel like you can't, you don't have time. And you're always looking at something that you don't have maybe. And I think spending all this time with family, for one, you have a greater appreciation for, the wife, the kids, spending all this time together. I mean, we've been able to talk more, spend more time together, more like, more real quality time, not just like turn on the TV and then, okay, next day we're ready to get up and do the same thing all over again. Teaching the kids, my oldest, she just turned 3, right? And so I'm thinking about how to keep her engaged or having, actually having a real conversation with her. This summer we will go on walks together, and for once, like I could actually just talk to her, like, hey, what's your favorite color? What do you like? What do you like to do? What did you do today? I asked her, like, if she could have a superpower, what would it be? She said she would fly. I said, what would your superhero name be? She said it would be Super Tori. I was like, hey, that's awesome. You know what I mean? So
that's cute.
Just having that, a lot of people lost their jobs during the pandemic, right? We've been blessed to be able to continue working. I mean, just having that. So it's really just, for me, one of the big takeaways is just really taking stock of what I have and being happy with what I have. Not necessarily like, hey, I got to get this, got to buy this, need to, do whatever. It's just like, hey, like I have this house, I have this car, I can pay for everything. I am giving my family what they need. And I think without this forced pause, right? I don't think I would have done that. So I'll let y'all comment on that, and I'll take my next piece.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of what you said, I'm going to probably say a little bit in mine. I'm a little bit different story than USB than myself, but no, I mean, when you're talking about just time with you and your family, I'm happy to know that my friends here on this podcast and elsewhere, for the most part, have strengthened their families in one way, shape, or another. What has happened, what we're seeing apparently, is that domestic violence has been on the rise this year. Suicide rates have been on the rise this year. So I'm privileged and happy to know that people that are close to me are trying to find a way through this, right? Because this year has sucked, right? There's almost nothing to be happy about. So as Omar was saying earlier, like, we're in this together, and I'm just happy that you're able to talk to your daughter. So you're teaching her young about superheroes, so that's smart right there. Maybe we'll get another Batgirl or Batwoman out there. We'll see. By the way, Batwoman's black on
That's
show.
right. That's right.
No way, really?
Yeah,
I didn't hear. Yeah. Wow, that's good.
My youngest was actually born on Batman Day this year.
Batman Day.
Last year. Last year.
There's a Batman Day?
Yeah, man.
Was that coincidence, or were you like telling Candace, hey, you need to hold on?
Total.
Right.
She came late. She came late, man. She came late.
Nicholas like snuck a epidural shot on his wife like that day.
There was some more.
Oh man, but yeah, even like same thing with Serena, right? Like I think to your point, as you were talking about that, Nicholas, I was thinking one thing that our generation as millennials, right? What are the older millennials? And even us, I think we were the last generation to really experience a childhood outdoors. And, I think even so, we've acclimated to this, new, like technological society, like adapted it as if, like, I mean, we were raised in it, right? And I think one thing that we've forgotten is what it really means to connect at a deeper level with those around us. And it's not just taking things for granted, like, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? But like you said, what color do you like? Simple things like that. Like, do you really know? And ask, for anyone else that's seeing, watching this, like, ask yourself, do you know your, wife's favorite color? Your daughter, your son, your parents, or whatever. I mean, do I really care what someone's favorite color is? No. But just the point is that, unless it's my daughter, the point is that it's. I just heard some like, I just heard some like dishes like.
Yeah.
That's why I was about to bust in there. So
right.
Did you get that though? When it said, I don't care what someone's favorite color was, if someone just like flipped some dishes. Someone overheard you.
You got some splaining to do.
Right. So like but my daughter's favorite color is red, right? Like we talk about things like that, right? My wife and I, we both love blue, right? But it's just good to know these things. I'm just saying, because you're just, finding out the small little things. And, Serena has, she really likes Supergirl. Unfortunately, she's more into DC than she is with Marvel. She hasn't been exposed to Marvel yet. I will say that. We do make fun of her because she's very bossy, right? And she's like she's bossy, and she's a natural leader, right? So far.
Good. That's good.
And so I make fun of her. I'm like, your superhero name should be Supervisor, and she hates that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that was all I had on your point. That's a good one, Nicholas.
So I mean, the other thing here is just thinking about like the Black Lives Matter movement. I know it's kind of cooled off now a little bit. It's not quite in the headlines as it is. But for me, I think this year has just had a lasting impact on me as far as that's concerned. It might not be in the press like it used to be, right? But that's something that I live every day. That's something that Saheed lives every day. It is something, I mean, it's, even as a minority, you might be, brown skin or whatever, but I mean, you live it every day. Mm-hmm. And it just has me a little more conscious about, where I spend my money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As a father, I'm not the stereotype, right? I'm not what's necessarily shown in the media. Like, I'm not a criminal. I'm not single. I'm not, running the streets or whatever. Like, I feel like I'm trying to be like that example for my kids. And I wonder, when I'm going to have the conversation.
Yeah.
That's something that, me and my friends have had to talk about, right? Is like, we're all Black. We're raising, a lot of us are raising kids, and it's like, when do you have the conversation? What else can I do? Besides, as far as my own economical impact, right? What else can I do to help the movement along, to help my people? And it's one of the things that, like, obviously this is a small platform right now, whatever, but that's one of the things that kind of spurred me to start the podcast. That's why we call it Targeted, because that's exactly how we feel, right? You go out, just as some of the victims this year, I go out running, 2-3 times a week. Yeah. My wife tells me she prays for me when I go out. You know what I mean? I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? Pray I come home. I have a friend who's Black and gay. She, at the grocery store, they, just getting disrespected for no reason at all. You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to find ways to channel my anger. I feel there's a lot of inner turmoil that the year has left me with. There's like a rage inside me. And I guess, I'm rambling or whatever, but I guess the takeaway is that, you know, I have all these feelings inside, and I'm trying to find a way to, it's kind of spurred me to figure out something to do with that energy before it eats me up. So I guess, you know, if I had to, that's really what it is for this year. Is if I had to sum it up, it's just like there's a lot of growing anger inside me, and I'm trying to figure out how to challenge it, motivate others with it. It's just have something on my shoulder that I'm always carrying around with me. It's just, you know, being me, being Black. So, you know, it's not really a big takeaway for the year necessarily, or a lesson learned, but it's just kind of just that recognition that, you know, just to go back and like kind of take a personal journey of like who I am, where I come from. You know, I don't really know like what my past is. So just all of those types of things, like anything having to do with being Black or of African origin, you know, doing that investigation, putting money back into our culture, our people, or whatever, you know, I'm trying to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah. No. So Nicholas, man, you hit on some points, and it's kind of scary how similar with my notes that I took, like of what I wanted to say this year, like you kind of hit on all these points. Um, for me, I feel like I've kind of done. It feels like survivor's remorse, right? I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
seen the show on HBO by LeBron James, but like people coming out the hood or still are still there. Um, in my case, right, my family is immigrants, right? We kind of came over. My parents came over in the '80s, where a lot of the civil rights battles have been done, right? And we were able to take advantage of that. My family went to school. I was able to go to school. Um, moving to like the DC area, like I've done a lot of work and I've done a lot of donations to military homes and U.S. military, Navy SEAL Foundation. I've donated to that. But this year, it kind of made me eye opening. It's like, what have I done for like the Black cause, right? For people that are still suffering, that have been suffering for years, that are still going to be suffering, and that this fight struggle is going to be going on for like a long time. Like, who really needs my attention?
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion that, you know, I haven't done my share, right? I haven't, I've taken advantage of what people have done to get me here, right? I have a nice job, have in a good position, right? But what have I done for the next generation, right? To bring them up and to kind of keep continuously move the needle forward, right? I mean, part of me kind of thought that just me being Black and only Black person, like, let's see white faces and like just having conversations is enough. No, we got to keep doing more. It's never really enough. Um, so that's like one thing that like I kind of realized, and I'm gonna do more of, and doing more to those causes, right? It's my money there, right? That's where it's needed, right? For
Yeah.
sure. That's where it's needed. Like, not that I don't support the troops and whatnot, of course, but there's always going to be someone that's going to support you, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not to say that I won't like put money in that donate more, but that's definitely going to be less of my attention for sure, right? I'll definitely be putting more into the Black causes. So, like this year, I really learned about my own privilege. I also knew the power to be what it means to be Black in a white like space, right? Um,
Like in your bedroom, in your dorm room.
Nice. Good one, actually. Yeah, I'm super powerful in my bedroom. it's a hell of a pickup line.
Oh man.
Thank you for that, Omar. I appreciate that. No, but the power of being a Black person in a white space, right? Because what realizes that a lot of people kind of want to prove to themselves and to other people that they're not like, biased or whatever. So they will use like Black people as tokens, right? You see this, like all politicians do this. but I haven't seen it as shamelessly done as Donald Trump, right?
Mm.
Where like just so shamelessly, like like the platinum plan for like black people, he reached out to rappers of all people to like
He knew what he was doing.
yeah, he
Yeah,
reached out to
exactly.
Lil Wayne, right, and Ice Cube, right, and not talk to actual like black entrepreneurs. You have a black secretary of like home in Ben Carson. Didn't hear him.
Knows nothing about it, man. He was a doctor.
Yeah, it's just so things like that, like understanding your blackness, like in a white space, right?
Yeah.
For the first for the first time in a while, like when this happened, right? When the George Floyd situation happened and people were at home and people were like, "Oh, well, I guess this is still a problem." They there was a time, I don't know about you, Nicholas, but there was a time where I did feel more empowered to talk and speak and feel that I was heard because like people are fragile, right? And there was a time where I could openly talk about it with my VPs at my company, right? Which is something that's unheard of, right? They all want to do the right thing. They all want to say the right thing and whatnot. So it was something that I was happy for and grateful. Um, and I guess one last thing is I think I told you guys about kind of what happened earlier this year with like my gym where the CEO said some racist stuff and I was a little for the most part our gym de-affiliated from that organization and the guy eventually was like bought out of his own company. So I mean he got paid for like saying that stuff the way I see it. But one of the things I learned through that situation was that there was a lot of silence within my group of like I guess I call so-called friends.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying this. By the way.
Yeah. There's a level of silence, and I was very disappointed in that. Right, I think I heard more about like our name change than I did about the actual reasoning for the name change, and because when we de-affiliated from that, like you guys know CrossFitters, it's a cult. It's a cult, right? And
I only know that through you.
Thank you. Like when you drink the Kool-Aid, like you're always talking about it, you're always talking about lifts and this and that, right? And one of the things that they talk about is a community, and this is someone who, like, there's a part of that community that's been misrepresented right now, and a lot of people didn't really speak up. I mean, a lot of people did speak up. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of leaders and a lot of CrossFit leaders did speak up, but there was a section that was noticeably quiet, right? And that bothers me to this day, and that's kind of affected me. And when I talk about knowing your blackness in a white space, just know that you can be used as a token, right? To let these guys feel that I'm not racist. No, I don't know about you, because I hear this all the time. Oh, I'm not racist. I have this black friend, or look at this, or that. So me noticing that, I don't want to be anyone's token, anyone's reason to just say or think horrendous things. Like,
well, that's where that phrase comes from, right? Like the token black guy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I used to joke about it, right? But like, if someone's a Trump supporter, I don't want them to look at me as a friend.
Yeah.
Right. My family's from Africa. I'm born a Muslim. Trump said Africa's full of shithole countries and put a Muslim land. So why are you friends with me? Right?
Yeah.
So I don't want them to say, well, I treat people with respect, but I just support Trump for blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, well, you can find some other token black person to be friends with because you're not using me. So yeah. Sorry, little long there, but yeah, it's been a long year. So I guess one super last thing is I want to just say I am grateful to my friends, you guys, and a lot of other people that did reach out and wanted to learn and understand kind of where we came from, right? or not necessarily where we came from, but kind of what we go through, right? The microaggressions that we go through every day, the insult of our intelligence occasionally, right? When in the office. So to kind of get that perspective. So not just you guys, but there are some CrossFit people that actually kind of reached out and had a very earnest conversation with me. And I definitely appreciate that. So I want to make sure that's been said as well. So yeah.
Yeah, no, just kind of touching on actually some things that you said and Nicholas said. Me, just being brown, oftentimes confused for being Hispanic, especially my name Omar. But like I'm a Muslim. Similar to your parents. My family came here, actually here in the 70s, in 1970. Again, also after the civil rights movement, right? But when my dad came, he was already in his 20s. And he was the first person from my entire family to come into the US. And at that time, it was like pretty much all of the South Asian community, right? Pakistanis, Indians, Bengalis, and everyone, they were all just one community at the time, because they were a lot like rare, back then. But uh, basically it's like for me growing up being, I guess I'd make me first generation in my family as an American, I faced so much like prejudice and racism I didn't even realize until I got older and I look back in hindsight. And it was really unfair. It angered me. I got bullied a lot as in my childhood. And like I tell people, I've been to the hospital even before I got to junior high. I had at least like 10 concussions. I'm not exaggerating. That's not exaggeration. Um, like that's, I think by the time I finished senior year of high school, from sixth grade on is when I started trying to defend myself. Right. Um, I didn't before that. I just, I was in a very, majority Caucasian neighborhood and school district. And, as they say, a Japanese proverb, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down first, right? Or the tree that's the tallest tree is the one that gets cut down first. So that's what happened to me. And, I didn't really realize it until I thought about this a lot in my high school years, is that those moments define my life, define how I view people around me and how I, see things. And I think after high school is when I really started really connecting with the plight of the Black community. Admittedly, it took me that long to realize it because I had to look back in hindsight. And I realized my experiences, however crazy they were, didn't amount to, the experiences that the Black community in the US has faced. So no, absolutely, appreciate you guys opening your hearts up and sharing that, not just with me. We've been friends for a while, we've talked about these things with each other, but to the public. And no matter what happens, I think, like you guys are like my brothers, right? So no matter what happens, just want you guys to know that I'm always going to be there if you need me. Ninja Assassins LLC, hint hint. It's like I've actually used that quite a bit. So if anyone else I know is using this, then they'll catch on to that. But anyhow, that's my spiel.
Yeah, you guys are like brothers. You guys anger me like brothers sometimes too. But that's.
I know exactly. Yep. I think Sahid and I are the twins, and Nicholas is like the older brother. I think that's what our relationship's like between the three of us.
Yeah, that's how I know we're friends. Or the fact that we can argue, and like be cool about it, like.
Bro, at the end of the day, whenever we get into our stupid like arguments, it's like I have nothing but love at the end of the day.
Yeah. No.
But
Absolutely.
all right, so my two, I'm gonna go through these quickly. My two main lessons learned. Right, the first one, I learned just how fragile our world really is. I mean, while those of us in like a lower and middle class, we slave our lives away. The rich get richer and we get poorer. And I'm talking about in terms of inflation as well, right? People like us, we're not the only ones. Not the only ones. We aren't the ones that are protected in catastrophes. You know, especially working with government, contracting and whatnot. And, like we know that, there's all these, contingencies. And I mean, well, actually, you don't even have to work for government to know that. I mean, but we know that government, DoD, has all these contingency plans for all different scenarios. They have freaking contingency plans for a zombie outbreak. Yes, I kid you not. Look it up. It's public information. And you do not need a
But I
tinfoil
say you must be on that G14. That G14
Look it up.
S1.
Hey, all right. Hey, look, that's public news. It's weird, right? That they would have something like that. A UFO, an alien invasion contingency plan, all sorts of things.
Question about this zombie this thing.
Yeah.
It's close enough with these anti-maskers running around spitting on people and whatnot. I mean, did it work? Or I'm just saying, do you even use it?
No, but this has been around for many, many years, though. This has been a while. But there's all sorts of contingency plans that the Pentagon has. All right. So my point is that, I guess we've been living inside this safety bubble, quote unquote safety, for so many years. But this year we realized that all it took was a tiny microscopic organism to throw the world into a state of chaos.
True.
And I'm going to go on to say, being a God-fearing man, that in the end, this is my beliefs that, it's all in God's hands. These are all his plans. And I think, it's up to us to at least put in the effort and do what we can. So get educated, get street smart, vote people into office who share our struggles, right? Like, I don't fully agree, for example, with a lot, some things that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says, but as a whole, she's one of us.
Yeah,
she is one of us.
Agreed.
And, I support her 110%. I don't have to agree with her 110%, but I love her values. I love her morals. I love where she's from. And that's what we need to see more of, right? And so I think just, and also just be a good person.
Yeah.
That sounds really simple, but I think that goes a really long way. So I think if everyone did stuff like that, we, the people of America, would be in a much better place.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's my first one. I'm just going to kind of blend that into my second point. Is I've said this the last 2 episodes. I'm going to say it again, and I know you guys have kind of said it too. Appreciate what you have. Don't take any relationship for granted. Be nicer to people. That goes a long way. Take care of your body. I had COVID. I didn't have any major health issues. I mean, I had asthma growing up, and that helped me back from things, but I pushed through it, right? I did martial arts. I did boxing and, some other things and stuff. And, I've done a total of almost 15 years, and it just didn't stop me. But this year I got COVID in the summer, and that really hurt me. I'm still suffering from some of the stuff, but I didn't give up, right? But one thing I realized is, I wish I'd been even healthier to take on, some of the stuff that I had faced, right? My back gave out last year as well, my spine, right? I'm still suffering from that, but it's not stopping me. I'm still pushing it through. So take care of your body. Work hard, play harder. People say that, but you didn't really realize it until this year. In the end, life's short. Don't throw away your younger years saving up for a better life for when you're a senior. Then what's the point? Yeah, I remember I've read online quite a bit. Nurses and doctors share their stories of patients on their deathbed, talking about their grievances, their regrets. And one of that is, they wish they had lived more in their younger years, not worked as hard. And so I think it's important that we find that right balance between working and playing right now. And so, one last comment for, give you guys an opportunity to chime in. Say it again. 2020 wasn't the year to get what you wanted. It was a year to appreciate what you have.
I still want a PS5. That would mean I could play a lot. That would mean I could play a lot more if I had.
Well, don't get Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, they took it off the PlayStation Store, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're good if you have a PS5, but if you have
Yeah.
PS4.
No. Yeah, no, that's great stuff, Omar. I do want to point out one thing too. So one of the like with all the social justice things that happened this year, you know, one thing that helped me like get through it all. Like there's a couple things that did, but one thing that helped me get through it, Jingle and Change.
You know what?
Is that 2020?
No, it's on Netflix, right? So I watched
Okay.
Yes.
Jingle and Change.
That movie got a lot of flack for the script and the gratuitous, or what some felt was the gratuitous use
Okay, that's
of
BS.
the N-word.
That's
right?
BS because it's.
And so, yeah, that's what I was
okay.
about to say. Like,
Well, it's Quentin Tarantino.
You don't think that is what life was like for us back then? Then, you know, you're paying a little bit too much attention to exactly what's in your textbook and not doing like some real research. I mean, that was it.
I mean, those people that criticize the movie like that, Nicholas, those guys are fragile. That's a big problem that we kind of realize. Like, I mean, just realize, but like they're unable to kind of talk about some of the issues that happen with people of color, right? That all of us, right? That we're not as righteous as we think we are, right? The all lives matter or I don't see color. That's just their fragility coming out for everyone to see, right? That's just them seeing their unwillingness to understand our plight, right? To understand what it means to be the only person in the room, right?
Absolutely.
So,
actually, this makes me want to. I'm sorry, Larry.
Yeah, I mean it's annoying. We still have to keep fighting that fight, but like even now, and Nicholas just said this earlier too. Like social justice fatigue has happened. Right? People, it's not as ritual as it was earlier this year, right? It's died down a lot this year. And I mean, part of like my frustration too is me knowing that it's gonna happen. Like I knew that was gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are like, you know, waving people that are not people of color that are waving like the Black Lives Matter flag and whatever, they're gonna get tired of it after a while. Not anymore. And we have to go back to same old of people trying to undermine the movement, trying to gaslight us. Say, oh, it's not really racist, or I'm not racist. I have this black friend, or like I love everybody. Color. So yeah. But I will say this: the conversations that I've had, I haven't been able to have before, right? So that is some truth there, right? There are people that are out there, like I said, you guys, guys from my gym are still in it, are still in the movement. It's not just a temporary thing for them. It's them wanting to learn and know where things are.
Right. And that's how you know you can tell the difference between the people that really care and the people that are putting it on for a show.
Yes. 120%.
You know, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to share any final closing thoughts of yours. I'm just going to give my last piece. I really, you know, Nicholas, this is a great idea. I wasn't really aware of your real feelings behind starting this podcast. So it was really nice to hear, you know, your thoughts on that.
Appreciate that.
You know, and it just makes me feel like, you know, for me to want to take this even more seriously than I have before, you know, I've just been looking at this as just like something for us to do as fun on the side. But, you know, when you put in perspective like that, using this as a medium to really reach out to the public, you know, and really talk about, you know, educate people on at least some of our experiences, right? And hopefully in the future we can bring on guests to this show, you know, people have experiences and opinions on things, you know, beyond our own. I think that would be phenomenal. So 2021, I have some big expectations and high hopes for us, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm ready to. That was one thing I wanted to say, was just like next year. You know, I'm all about goals and objectives these days. So next year the goal is to try to do, you know, at least one interview, get up, you know, get the viewership up a little bit. And that's just, you know, that's just on, and everything takes a little bit of time. You know what I mean? I definitely like looked into that sort of stuff too. Like, so, but I, you know, I can't wait, man. And I'm happy to be able to use this as a way to get my perspectives out there. You know, I'm not much of a people person, all that type of stuff. I'm not, you know, very outgoing like that, but this was just like my way of getting my thoughts out there, and I'm really enjoying it. So appreciate y'all for doing it with me, and you know, let's make the next year a big one, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, let me like add on to that. Yeah, thanks for the journey so far. Yeah, definitely appreciate us having a platform to talk and kind of share our experiences, both similar and different, right? Definitely thanks to you guys for like kind of helping this year be a little bit better. Thanks to a lot of my other friends that are probably none of them are watching, but to the that are watching, you know, thank you guys for your friendship and your support. Yeah, definitely really appreciate it. Yeah, love your family. Be grateful that we made it this far. Right, it's not over yet.
For sure.
It's not over yet.
It's not.
Hopefully 2020 is going to post something on the 31st. Like, you know, like, It'll be over. And I don't suspect the beginning of next year to be in like that much better, but it will be just a chance for a new start for all of us. And you know, again, I said this before. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to our fans. And yeah, see you guys.
All I'm saying is, if we were gonna throw a raffle, this would be the time to be in it.
$500 to the first commenter, the only commenter.
Watch me be the new comment too. Like
Yeah, right. Nicholas gonna get one of his two daughters to like make another fake Facebook account to comment, enter the raffle.
You better believe it.
Awesome.
Well, I really enjoyed today's episode. I know it was a little bit sappier than usual, but I mean, I think it was, you know, important that, you know, we highlight, you know, 2020 as a whole year. I mean, in history, you know, 100 years down the line, you know, 200 years, you know, however long this planet's still around, you know, this is going to be a year that's going to be remembered. You know, a lot of stuff went down. It wasn't just COVID. So, you know, how we come out of this mentally is really important. So appreciate this journey with you guys. Love everything you guys said. And with that, I'm gonna close it out. Good night.